Today I'm answering a question I get asked all the time. How long did it take me to become a professional illustrator? If you are wondering how long it really takes from this doodling just for fun to landing professional work, then you are not alone. In case you don't know me, my name is Weronika Salach. I'm a professional illustrator specializing in children's books and children's products. In this video, I wanted to walk you briefly through my journey, the real timeline, the setbacks, how it all started, the mindset shifts, and also how I kept improving my craft along the way. Let's start with my creative tools. So if you've been following me for a while, you know that I specialize in digital illustration. Way before, and before is for me personally 2019, I used to create with traditional paints. I even have some videos here on this YouTube channel where I do some reviews of gouache paints because I was in love with gouache and watercolors. So if you want to go down the memory lane with me, you can go and dig out those videos. Some of them were pretty popular. I was making a comparison of acrylic gouache versus normal gouache. I found it a little bit limiting for me because I was lacking technical experience when it comes to scanning the traditional art and preparing them for something that can be shared online, either with the clients or in the portfolio. And this is when I discovered iPad art. I now create 100% on the iPad. I also have a dedicated video about my whole workflow and my whole setup, so you might also want to check this out. And as many digital artists out there, I started out in 2019 in sketching and illustrating in Procreate. Next, I explored vector-based software such as Affinity Designer, which is currently my favorite, and also Adobe Fresco, and for a little while I was also using Vectornator app. It was quite cool. But currently I am using predominantly Affinity Designer for the iPad. How did I learn to draw? Honestly, you don't really need any special education. You can of course go to college or make a special degree in design and communication or in illustration. This wasn't available to me in my region. I studied something else and I thought I'm done with studying and I'm not willing to put any more years of my life to devote it to sitting in class, doing exams and so on. So I don't have any, let's say, proper education, which also means that you don't necessarily need to do that. If I knew what I will be doing now, I would go back to 15 years ago when I used to study linguistics, and I would tell myself, Vera, don't do that, go and study something artsy, something connected to design. Back then I wasn't sure if there would be employment in that field, so I chose studies that were a little bit more practical, let's say. So having said that, I'm a self-taught artist, which means that anyone can do that. Anyone who has some imagination, who has a creative soul, you don't necessarily need a degree to start your illustration career. Painting in digital software such as Procreate is by default more technical than painting just with watercolors. So I decided to look for courses, and this is how I started looking for some learning material on platforms such as Domestika and Skillshare. These platforms were really amazing for building my foundations. I will be sharing some of my favorite courses in a few minutes. And Skillshare in particular became my go-to platform to learn fast. Now, Skillshare is also the sponsor of today's video. If you've never heard of it, Skillshare is an online learning platform with thousands of video classes for creatives. You will find there everything from illustration, design, and animation to photography, writing, freelancing, and productivity. There's a lot of themes that you can explore out there. The classes are taught by working artists and professionals, and they are usually project-based. So You're not just watching passively, you're actually making something as you go. I liked Skillshare so much, I participated in one of the drawing challenges. That was another part of my learning journey. I was learning through classes, for example, on Skillshare, and I was connecting with artists over on Instagram. If you remember Instagram in 2019, it used to be a completely different platform. You could make really, even now, great friendships, but it was still completely different those 6 years ago. It was full of fun drawing challenges. And so, for example, I participated in one of those challenges and I won one of the prizes, which gave me a big confidence boost. But it also introduced me to one of the Skillshare top teachers, and I met with her privately, and she told me about the perks, the advantages of teaching on Skillshare. So this is when in 2019, 2020, I decided to invest my time into teaching online classes on Skillshare. I have a special referral link for you today that gives you something a little bit better than the standard offer. Instead of a 7-day trial, I have a 30-day trial, a Skillshare Premium link for you, which you can find in the description box below. So back in the day, back in 2019, when I was exploring my style and the technique, and I was trying to learn digital art because I saw it gives me more advantages than the traditional art, I was pretty much stuck on Skillshare, and I was taking lots and lots of classes, and I discovered really many amazing teachers. And in this video, I wanted to show you my recommendations of teachers and classes that I would take if you started learning on Skillshare. Here are a few I really recommend if you're starting out or want to improve. My number one is Tom Froese. His classes are absolutely fantastic. They're very playful, very concept-driven illustrations. His Odd Bodies class was one of my first that really helped me to loosen up in my illustration style. Next, I would really like to recommend Liz Collar-Brown. Thanks to her, I discovered Affinity Designer. I've noticed that there's something else out there for pattern design, and I took one of her courses to gain an introduction into Affinity Designer version 1 back like ages ago, and there was a version 1 before version 2. Liz's classes on surface design and repeat patterns are super clear, and it's especially recommended if you want to turn your art into real products. And finally, another wonderful illustrator is Sarah Holiday. Her classes are full of warmth and storytelling, and I absolutely love how she teaches character illustration and scene design, in a way that feels approachable. If you would like to try out any of those classes, you have my referral link in the description box below. You're getting 30 days Skillshare Premium instead of 7. Now, let's talk about the next very big step in my career, getting agency representation. Fast forward from 2019 throughout 2020, teaching on Skillshare, we land in 2023. This is when I started to feel very confident in my style. I liked what I was doing. I had a lot of clarity. If I looked back then at my Instagram account, for example, it looked quite cohesive. So I wouldn't be ashamed to show my artwork at that time. And I decided that I would like to team up with somebody to gain more guidance and more motivation to, from being this amateur to skyrocket myself to being a professional. And this is when I decided, after watching also lots of advice videos on YouTube, I decided that for myself, for my own personal journey, it would be good to seek agency representation. I think that agency representation is not for everybody. Throughout this experience that I've gathered, I was able to identify 3 paths for illustrators that I see throughout, also when I observe the career paths of my friends. And I made a video about it also here. It's available if you'd like to watch it on YouTube. Illustration Career 101. So how did the agency help me? The biggest game changer for me with working with the agency Advocate Art was gaining a lot of visibility, because as the name suggests, they were representing me, so they were putting my work forward in front of potential clients. I used to apply myself to potential clients before, but I never gotten any answers. And it might be just sometimes a matter of luck, but sometimes it might be that publishers would rather speak with agents than with illustrators who work just by themselves. So not knowing which was the case for me, like did I have bad luck or do I really need an agent, I still decided that it would be great to get some guidance. So I applied for agency representation with Advocate Art, and I really worked very hard to polish my portfolio. They saw some potential, and in something like 3 weeks after applying with them, I got accepted and we signed a contract. Since then, that was the end of 2023, December 2023, I worked with them together on 10 projects. 2023 was when I signed. 2024 was when I started getting my first projects, and I needed to wait half a year before I got the first one. So, signing with an agency doesn't guarantee that you'll get work right away. I needed to be very patient. So after half a year, I got my first publishing deal for 4 board books. So it was really worth the wait. Those 10 projects that I worked with my agency on were 2 board book projects. I had 1 search and find book project. There was 1 novelty book project, which will be released this year for Christmas. There was also 1 project for illustration for school kids aged 9 to 11. There was a licensing deal for a children's puzzle, and also another puzzle project, but this time for adults, that I'm currently working on. And last but not least, there was an activity book for children. So there was like a whole spectrum of products from both publishing and licensing. Again, 2023, I signed. 2024, I worked and I signed contracts. And only this year, 2025, I was able to hold some of my published work in my hands. This is the first work that I was able to hold in my hands. It's an activity book for really, really small kids. I designed mazes for kids and some fun games. And this week I got another package. So my author copies came this week with my search and find book. Let me show you. This is the first publication. I'm super, super proud of it because it also it also has my name here for my ego. It's really cool to see your own name on the book cover. And I'm very, very proud of this publication because it's full of detail. A search and find book, it's one of my most favorite books. As a parent, I really adore those books. My daughter is 4 years old. And we absolutely love those books where you're looking for some items in a very big and detailed spread. It took me a lot of time to create. We were working on this book together with the publisher between, I think, September last year and February this year. So it was a ton of work, but a lot of satisfaction. And I'm not sure if I would be able to get this project without agency representation. Maybe now that I am already published and I'm able to show something in my online portfolio, it would have been easier. But before, I think it would be a little bit difficult because I didn't have any work to prove myself. So now we're in 2025. What are the next steps? I will be very, very honest with you. My next step will be profitability, because even though I can, let's say, already call myself a professional illustrator, I am officially published, I'm not yet profitable. That means that I still need other sources of income, because just working on freelance illustration projects is currently not enough. Either the budgets are very small or I'm not getting enough inquiries. Perhaps I need a little bit more traction so that publishers out there recognize me, recognize my style, and want to work with me more and more. What matters the most is that you keep going. Now, I would also like to hear in the comments section where are you right now in your journey? Are you freelancing? Are you learning? Are you using Skillshare or Domestika as your learning platform? Did you sign with an agency, or are you hoping to find agency representation? Let me know. I would really love to hear your stories. You can also check out my other illustration career videos, and since I'm gaining more and more experience, as you could see on this timeline, I have more and more insights to share, so I'm pretty sure I will keep creating more insights video on this topic, so you stay tuned. Don't forget about checking out Skillshare, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye!